As I've said, human beings have about 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. And before meditation, it feels like there's not very much space between them. I like to think of the classic I Love Lucy sketch with the conveyor belt and the chocolate shop, where she's trying to keep up with all these chocolates passing by. That's the way our brain works. It's constantly on this conveyor belt of thought, and we tend to get a little bit grabby about it. After meditation, it's not that we necessarily have less thoughts. It's not like, well, I've been practicing a while, so I have 30 to 40,000 thoughts where you have 60 to 80,000 thoughts. No, we have the same amount of mental activity. It's just that it feels like there's more space around the thoughts. Maybe that we take them less seriously. And the problem itself is not thinking. It's when we try to keep up with the thoughts, when we get grabby about them, when we get sticky. Now, to counteract that conveyor belt, or at least deal with it, we need a method. And as you read before this module, one of the methods as a metaphor is duck diving like on a surfboard. And from Saltwater Buddha by Jamal Yogis, I'll offer this excerpt. One of the biggest waves I had ever encountered reared in front of me, snarling. I can't tell you how big because even small waves seemed 3 stories tall during this learning period. They were probably about 3 feet. At any rate, it looked hopeless. The lip plunged toward me, but surprisingly, I didn't freeze. I kept my eyes on the clarity of the water. I pushed the nose of my board under, deep. I crammed the tail of the board down with my knee as if I was trying to force open a locked door. I braced myself, but it was as if the impenetrable wall had melted. My board submerged and I was sucked down, under, and through effortlessly. I popped up on the other side, turning my head from side to side. Why wasn't I 10 feet back in the other direction? And that's when it all kind of clicked. There was a way, a method that worked. The walls were not impenetrable. I realized in that moment that all the initial poundings had scarred me in a way. I had known intellectually that I did this duck diving thing right. It was possible to get through even very big waves. But I'd started believing I couldn't do it, and so I couldn't. But now I had experienced it, and I knew it. When I first started meditating, I was confident, just like when I first paddled out, but my body resisted stillness and I was bulldozed by thoughts. The thoughts were like those impenetrable walls of water, like storm waves with no space in between them. In my muddled mind, there were no clean lines to read, no chance of duck diving. But after a few days, it was as if the onshore winds began to fade. The waves were still churning, but they were coming in more clearly with enough space between them to see them, coming into being, passing away, dissolving into the ocean of my mind. Anicca, the Buddha called this impermanence. I hadn't done much of it, but even in the very first stages of meditation, I could begin to see thoughts for what they were. Just as a wave does not have a static, fundamental substance, but is energy transferring between molecules, my feelings and thoughts were a chain of reactions, each dependent on the previous one. I could let them flip me around, spin me out into endless reactions, or let them pass over me, dissolve. This was revolutionary. It gave me choice. There's a famous quote by the meditation teacher, Jon Kabat-Zinn, who says, "You can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf." And we have a method for learning to surf. It's called mantra, and it is going to be our first practice.